scratching my head here, but okay. All right, guys, welcome to the Shlog. You see what we're looking at is a 300 that we just put this RK Tech head on, and it has developed a different kind of problem. So if you guys are interested in watching us take this apart and see how bad it really is, because it doesn't run and it did lock the tire up, stick with us. Should be a lot of fun. Alright guys, so you can see if we rotate this up, because this gentleman came from out of town, we put this head on for him, and you can see right there on the leading edge, see the part of the piston missing? Yeah, that's because it was lean. When I rode with him, when he rode with us on that Thursday night, we would clean trail, he would come up and it would be like hanging idle really bad. I'm like, dude, that thing's too lean. And he's like, yeah, something's weird. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So I told him to rich it up. Anyway, he didn't get a chance to, whatever. He went wide open down a road, and it locked the tire up. It turns over now, but I have a feeling that the cylinder and everything is junk, and the crank might be bad too. So I'm going to set you guys down. We'll pull the cylinder off and take a look. All right, guys. So it's a good one, but I think this gentleman got lucky. So we can see, there it is. She leaned out and seized bad, and you can see right up here, you can see it was lean for a while and it was chewing away, it was detonating and chewing away at that. The crank feels perfect though, and that's really good because I was concerned that we're gonna have to take it apart, do a bottom end too. I'm still gonna measure it. I'm not done checking everything out, but it looks great. It didn't change color at all. I gotta get down in there and like really look and make sure that the bearing in the bottom of the connecting rod looks good. But you can see even this side sees, and this is how, guys, it normally happens, is the exhaust side is what obviously gets hotter because that's the exhaust, and they'll chew things up and they'll make the piston grow. And so yeah, there we go. The reason I'm very hopeful that we don't have to do a crank is that when I melted my piston to the cylinder up in Idaho, goofing off, going down a road too fast, holding it, and like when I talk about that guy doing that, it is not a judgment by any means, because I've done it. I've actually seized 3 crankshafts that way, or actually no, 2 crankshafts and 1 piston that way, just being an idiot, ripping down roads and anyway, whatever. So yeah, it's not a judgy thing to say, it's just reality. But it probably, like, so anyway, when I did mine, I was able to just buy the 300 kit, put it all together, and I didn't do the crank at all until another 150, 130 hours went by, and I decided to do the crank just because it was out of spec on the measurement. It wasn't actually wiggly or making any kind of noise. So this bike only has about 200 hours on it, so I think that crank is going to be just fine. I am going to take this cover off and take a look in there and see, make sure 100% that that's probably where it was leaking, because when we put this back together, we want to make sure we're not, you know, have it lean out again. The other thing is, after talking to this gentleman, I've convinced him to get rid of this Electron carburetor, and we're going to put a 36mm key in on there, and we'll have it nice and tuned up, lots of gas going to it, so this won't happen again. Anyway, make sure you subscribe, guys, because we're going to be doing this on camera, the whole thing. So if you want to make sure you see those videos, subscribe, maybe hit that little notification bell, looks like this, and so that way you know all the videos we're posting. All right, now, guys, I have mail time. I'm really excited. Let me clean some stuff up and I'll grab it. All right, guys, so I am super stoked to get this package from our dear friends, Lance and Lisa at XC Gear. This is the very first in a long line of awesome parts coming for our brand new 2023 300 XC. I do not know when that bike is going to get here. I'm not sure when you guys are watching this. It may already be here when you're watching this, but right now it is May 17th and it is not here. It looks like it could be as late as October, hopefully maybe as early as July, but we'll see. Anyway, let me show you what these guys sent me. I'm so thankful. As you know, if you've watched any of our stuff, you know how big a fan I am of the Mako360. It's basically a necessity for me at this late stage in life. And as much riding and racing and crashing as I've done, my wrists, arms, elbows, shoulders, all that are not as good as a younger rider, but this helps me be able to ride, do the death march, ride long races, all that stuff without really any kind of issues, and it makes me so happy. But I'm super stoked because I've always used the just normal Mako360 on my bike, but Lance was kind enough to send me the SX model. So stoked. It says Highland Cycles. Lance, seriously, dude, thank you. I cannot say thank you enough. I am so excited. Obviously got the bottoms. It's set up. It's gonna, since it's an XC, it's got the cones that go in it and all that good stuff. He also sent me a set of bar ends, which I really like. I've got these on my bikes now also. So you guys know, I'm going to be running the orange polymers and blue shark bite on this one. Now on my 300, my trail clearing comfy bike, I'm running some super soft polymers, the purple and whatever, but I'm stiffening it up on these. These last a little bit longer, and this bike's gonna be a race bike, and I want everything to be as tight and feel good as possible. Really, yeah, I'm so happy. This thing looks so good. This is their blackout model, so everything's black and black on black and super cool. Anyway, thank you, Lance. Thank you, Lisa. I really cannot tell you how appreciative I am. Make sure you guys stick around, subscribe to the channel because I'll be filming the install on this hopefully super soon when we get the bike. But yeah, first in a long line. Again, make sure you subscribe and also check out, I'm going to start a playlist of the 2023 300XC playlist, so it's going to be everything having to do with that. The next stuff coming is from Bulletproof Designs, so make sure you stick around. All right, guys, quick back to the 300, show why it ended up leaning out. If we take a look here, you can, it's kind of hard to see in the camera, but the seal right here is wet, and this is all, let's see how it just, that's all mush and gook coming out of the crank. So when these seals leak, it's pushing and pulling. The pushing of the fuel out isn't awesome, but it's not the end of the world. It's the sucking of the air in that causes these things to lean out, and that's what caused that. So, like I said, fortunately, he seems to be super duper lucky. We're going to get him a top end kit and new crank seals, both sides. We'll go ahead and get the right side too. Replace all that stuff, new top end, and he'll be good to go. We're gonna get the cylinder replated. The cylinder, let me see if I can show you guys. Let's see, there we go. It's hammered, but no big deal. Nothing Millennium can't fix. So there we go. Something when, if your bike seems to all of a sudden start running lean, that is probably something that means you need to do something about it. So there we go. Get that thing apart and we'll get after it.
I didn't say you're mean shit.
All right, guys. So up on the lift is this WR. I think it's an 03 or 04. It definitely has electric start, so it's 03 or after. But it's before 07 because it has a steel frame that has been powder coated and dented and is rusting. But it came in for carb issues, wasn't idling. Turns out that the idle screw, which is right here, it's a cable goes over to a screw that goes up and pushes the cam. Anyway, it was just out. So we got that fixed and tuned the fuel screw, got that down. It's idling good. So he also, on his work order, wanted me to check out or check over and see what's wrong. So because it's Highland Cycles and because of experience with all of this, I went right to the air filter, and sure enough, it was just like this. It looks okay. I mean, dirty, sure. It looks all right until you go like that. Hey, look at that. And you can see right into the motor. So it looks like, fortunately, it had enough oil on it. So hopefully it was sealed up okay. I'm going to take that off. We'll take a look inside the airbox, make sure it's all right. But yeah, guys, Can't stress the air filter thing enough. I actually just got a message from one of you, I forget who it was, on Facebook. Who sent me, they just bought a bike and they were checking things out, and the first thing they checked was the air filter, and like it's not even close to on. I hope they didn't pay too much, and I hope that the motor's okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get that fixed, and I'll let you guys know if I find anything else awesome. All right, guys, so next on my list is this lovely Husqvarna 300. This has been in here lots and lots because this gentleman brings us his bike every time he wants it serviced. He is just happy to have us take care of it because, yeah, he doesn't have time, but he's got some money, and he likes to have us take care of it. So we're doing a full service on it. We're going to put a new tire on the rear, and we're also going to be putting Bulletproof Designs levers on it because he broke this lever over here, and he just wants some better levers. So let me show you guys. If you haven't seen them already, I know I've talked about them on my bikes. I run them on all my KTMs, and there they are. These are the Magura ones that will fit this bike, and they are awesome. Bulletproof Designs is one of my favorite companies ever, and that is a perfect segue into mail time because Bulletproof Designs has sent me a whole bunch of cool guy parts for our 2023 300. So let me go get the box and we'll take a look at what's inside. There we go. So they sent me, these are actually for the wall. These are Brembo style brake and clutch, and these are Brembo style brake and clutch for my new bike. So let me give these to Lander. We'll take a look at what's left. All right, guys. So one of my absolute favorite products they make are these radiator guards. These are hands down the best radiator guards in the business. Lifetime warranty. Guys, if you need rad guards for your bike, please consider these. They're amazing. They're super, super strong. Since I've been running them, I've never lost a day of riding to a bent radiator or punctured radiator. So thank you guys so much. We got a front disc guard and fork protector. So it's going to protect the bottom lug of the fork, obviously front disc, and smart enough to put a hole in the bottom so I can get to clickers. Happy about that. Although this is on the left, so on my bike, because it's going to be at least stock, we're going to be running air fork. There'll be no adjuster down there, but it doesn't matter. This will fit any KTM, which, you know, a lot of them do have bottom adjusters. This is for the rear caliper guard. I'm getting a rear disc guard. It's just not here yet. I think they were low on product. They're sending those. It's on the way, but that's that. And then we got a right fork lug protector with an adjuster hole, and then obviously levers. I know they're sending a rear disc guard, and I think that's about it that they know will fit the new 2023s because they have a lot of changes on those bikes. They're not 100% sure about the TPS guard. Well, I think they're 100% sure that it's not going to work. I'm also hoping that maybe they're going to work on a power valve cover because the electronic power valve has like this big plastic cover on it. Hoping that Bulletproof Designs might work on something for that. That'd be cool. Obviously going to be a while because they'll have to get a bike, take it off, whatever, all the things you do when you're a machinist. So anyway, Bulletproof Designs, thank you guys so much. Make sure, like I said, you subscribe because I'm going to put all this into a 300XC 2023 300XC playlist. We'll go over all the parts, all the stuff we do to it. Man, we're going to be test riding it, testing suspension, testing the fuel injection, testing everything. I'm really excited. It's going to be a while before we get the bike, obviously, but who knows? You might be watching this after we already have the bike. So yeah, thanks a lot, Bulletproof. I gotta get back to servicing this bike. I'll check in if I find anything interesting. Oh no, I'm just kidding. We are getting ready to put a Recluse in this 2022. I think they just call these the Factory Edition 350 XCF. Used to be called the Caleb Russell, but I think Caleb retired. Anyway, yeah, super stoked. Gonna put a full auto Recluse. I think he's got the Radius CX to put in this thing. Also, guys, I just talked to him, and we will be completely revalving the suspension, doing our cone valve adaptation on the forks and revalving the shock to make this thing work better for him too. Not right away because we got a race this weekend, but very, very soon. So stick with us because we're going to show you a lot more about that. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for this week's Shlog. It's been a little bit crazy here at the shop. We got some great work done, honestly. I didn't film a ton of it. Sorry about that. I just had a ton going on. But we did get that 350 Caleb Russell edition all done. Got the fan hooked up. Turns out, guys, here's a little something to know. If you've got a 4-stroke, newer KTM, and you buy the KTM fan kit, make sure you buy the extra wire harness that hooks it to the battery. Because on the new 4-strokes, it's actually just got a thermo sensor that goes into the fins of the radiator, and then that tells it when to turn on, but you just got to supply battery power to it. Whereas the new 2-strokes, like the new one I'm getting in the TPIs, the fan kit, you get the fan kit, put it on there, and then it has a little like a relay that plugs into the wiring harness that then the computer tells it when to turn on. So he didn't know that. He didn't buy it. I had to build the little I had to build a wiring harness for it. No big deal, just a couple wires back to the battery. But we got that all done. I got my kids' bikes all prepped and ready to go. I got my 125. She's over there ready to go racing. The 300 needs some serious love. Yeah, mainly just washing, actually. But we'll be back at it cutting trees next week. We don't have time this week because we're going racing, and I'm super excited. So if you guys like these videos, please consider subscribing. If you're new here and you just watched this thing, like, that was pretty fun, pretty interesting, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell. It does mean a really lot to us. And maybe tell your friends about it. Share these things around. I'm trying to grow this channel. It's one of those things, like, I really just want to I really want to spread this thing I call the gospel of two wheels. Motorcycles saved my life. Between God and motorcycles, they are the reason that I'm still here on this planet, and I just want other people to experience that. I want to share that with the world because I think that dirt bikers are better people than most people. So, yeah, anyway, so share this thing around, let people know what we're doing. It'd be awesome. All right, guys, I think I want to end this Shlog with a little story time. On Monday, I went out for a training ride for this race that's coming up this weekend. I got this big 40-mile loop that my buddy Andrew Neal put together out of Peach Valley. It's awesome. It's right at 40 miles. It's got some hard stuff. It's got some fast stuff. It's got some whoops. It's got some road. It's got a little bit of everything. It's a really great training loop. And we decided we're going to try to race it. And that, by the way, is leading into what you guys need to pay attention here on the channel for. I'm going to be posting about that. We're actually going to have an online race, basically, using GPSs and things like that. So it's kind of like Strava. And anyway, stay tuned if you're interested because it's going to be awesome. Anyway, so I went for the ride, and I was about 30 miles in when I looked down and I noticed that I had left the pocket of my wolf vest open, and it was completely empty. In that pocket was my keys to the van. That was the most important thing. 3 chainsaw chains, the screwdriver wrench thing for my chainsaw, and this twisty tie thing that I use for stuff. And they were all gone. And as I came off the race loop onto this road to head back, that's when I noticed it. And I still had about 10 miles left of the loop, and I'm like, I can either turn around, I have no idea where it came out, I can either turn around and go back, or I could just finish the loop and then go look for it. So I'm like, well, I'm already doing, let's finish the loop. So I just pin it, finish the loop, had a great run, took just over 2 hours, by the way. That's the time to beat. 2:05 right now is my time. His was 2:07. The only reason I beat him is because he had to kind of help some guys with Eagle Valley. Anyway, whatever. As he was coming down it, they were getting stuck. So cost him a few minutes for sure. But anyway, so I got back to the van, opened it with my phone app, thank goodness, poured some gas into the bike, and I went out to look. And I try to keep this a little bit short, but I rode the first section because there's a bunch of whoops, and there were, I thought, well, maybe it bounced out there, so I didn't find it there. I was like, well, I didn't notice it until at the end, so I rode the roads all the way back to the end where I noticed it, and I rode Red Rocks Trail backwards on the 125, didn't find anything. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I got to go back to the front of this loop, so I rode the roads back over, got onto Speed Ditch, rode Speed Ditch, didn't find it, rode up Ute Road, didn't find it. Got on Sidewinder, Ute Road, which is about the midway point of Sidewinder. I rode Sidewinder all the way back. And between Duncan Road and Bobcat Road, I'm coming down this big, long, rocky section, and I come up this little rise, and bam, there's the screwdriver wrench. They call it the scrunch. But anyway, the chainsaw thing where you can, anyway, tie the chain, all that stuff. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's right in the middle of the trail. So I grab it, and I'm like, sweet. So I ride a little bit further, and boom, there's the bag with the chains in it. I'm like, yes, this is like a treasure hunt. This is awesome. So I'm like, well, the keys were kind of small. You know, it's like that. They could be anywhere. Like, should I go look on that really rocky downhill, because that would be bumpy, it might come out. So I rode back to the top of the rocky thing, and I rode back down and didn't see them. Okay, fine. So keep going, past where the chains were, keep going. Start to lose a little hope, because it's been quite a while. And all of a sudden I come around turn, and bam, there's this twisty tie thing. It's like one of those big rubberized twist tie things. And there it is, right in the middle of the trail. I'm like, yes, we're still on the trail. So I'm like, all right, awesome. So I keep riding. And right before the end of the Sidewinder Trail, right before you go down and hit the Eagle Road, boom, there are my keys right in the middle of the trail. And I was so stoked. And I just have to share this, guys, because my faith is very important to me. And I don't talk a lot about it on here, but I feel like I really should. Not a lot, don't worry. I'm not going to preach to you guys all the time. But I want to share this, because as I was riding around, I was praying, because not that I couldn't get more keys, but they're very expensive for these new vehicles. Not because of the inconvenience. I mean, whatever, I'd deal with it. I have a spare one. It's not that big a deal. But because it was such a bummer, I was like, you know what? I feel like we should all be able to just talk to God anytime, right? Just like He's our Father, right? And so I'm like, man, so I prayed. And then I'm praying. I'm like, just help me find it. And I was praying for my timeline. I want to find it right now, so I don't have to ride all this way. I want to find it right now. And I feel like the way I found it, it was pretty cool, because by having to ride all that stuff again, since I didn't go backwards on the trail and find the keys first, I was forced to ride and find literally everything that was in that pocket. And honestly, those chains are expensive. The screwdriver wrench isn't too expensive, and the little twisty tie isn't that expensive. But it's like seriously awesome that I found all of it. So anyway, I just like to say thank you, God, for my keys and all my stuff. It was a huge deal. Anyway, to me, it meant something. Maybe you guys think it's just a coincidence. I don't think so. I think it was. I think He helped me find it. So it's pretty awesome. Anyway, yeah, but that's about the end of this week, guys.